What is up, folks? Welcome to the High Tech Podcast. It's another week of High Tech Hijinks. My name is Josh, one of the hosts of the High Tech Podcast, joined by Will. What is up, man? How you doing?
What's up? I'm here. It's Tuesday. We've made it this far into the week. We're going to get to the rest of the weeks soon enough.
We are here, and that is worthy of saying, considering the last week and a half that Will and I have had.
Sometimes
it's been a
that
vibe.
is its own achievement, right?
Yeah.
We got to Tuesday. We are still doing it.
I'm impressed I make it out of a day. That's basically where I'm at right now. It's not ideal. Yeah, it's great. I am glad to be here this week. It is, yeah, I am excited for this conversation. That is for sure. And I'm excited for stuff coming up. Those who listen to the High Tech Podcast, just a quick note. We got some guests coming up. We got some stuff going on. You know, Will's pulling the magic, as I call it. So I'm excited. We're going to finish out this year with some cool
Magic
stuff
fairy
for
dust.
sure. That is definitely sure. But before we get too far into things, just a reminder, we are on the interwebs beyond just these episodes, you know? So make sure to check those out. All socials, you can check us out at High Tech Podcast or at High Tech Pod. Just use one of those. We're there. Instagram, X, Reddit, I think technically we have, but we don't even look at it.
Yep,
I don't
it
know
exists.
if there's anything actively happening.
I made
there.
the account. I went and grabbed stuff, so it was like, if we ever used it, it's there. Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yep.
So, but definitely check out X and Instagram and YouTube are the big ones. You want to go check out and find some cool stuff there. Also, a reminder, you can email us at inbox@hightechpod.us if you'd like to be on the podcast. You have some thoughts. You have hot takes on what we're about to talk about this week. Let us know at inbox@hightechpod.us. You can also find us at our website, hightechpod.us. Make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast to go subscribe, like, hit the bell, do whatever it takes that we know you're alive and you're there. We've had a couple new subscribers in the last couple weeks here on YouTube, you know? So some people are listening to us, which is great. Both listening to the episodes and listening to our call to subscribe or like or hit the bell. You know, I don't actually know what the bell does. That's just a thing that everybody says, and I feel like that's a thing we should say. Is that a thing? It's like a notification thing.
Do it.
I think. Yeah. There's
YouTube...
there's a bell, and you should hit it. That's for sure.
Please do so.
Yeah. Go hit that bell.
The YouTube bell is like not only subscribing, but like the notifications. So you can click subscribe, but then the bell is about like how many notifications you get about what we're doing.
I knew that, but I was testing to see if you knew that. That was really.
Did I pass? Did I pass the test?
You passed. Will, have I told the story on the podcast of the Arby's bell?
Oh, no.
Has that story been told?
Is that a youth group thing or like a band day thing?
Yeah, it was like a band day thing. Have I told that story on there?
I don't think so.
Maybe I haven't. So fun aside here, folks. Talk about hitting a bell in real life. I don't know if you've ever gone to an Arby's. If you have, you were probably like me and you were just in a sad day and you needed a place to go and you ended up at Arby's. I don't feel like, listen, no offense to Arby's. I don't feel like people end up at Arby's because they want to be there. That's just my take. Like, I don't know that's maybe I'm wrong. I don't.
It's more of a need than a want,
yeah,
right? Like, I need food.
Like, I go
it's
find
available.
Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? I end up accidentally at Arby's. You know, it's not the same thing, right? So one time we're at Arby's and they have a bell in Arby's that you bring if you had a good time. Okay. Like you're good food, I guess, is to be more specific. Not just like, did you have fun in the Arby's? They ring this bell. I don't know if they still have this, but there was one time in the band days we went to an Arby's and a little kid went to ring the bell that he had a good meal, and he rang it so hard the entire bell fell off the wall. Like it just collapsed.
Amazing.
And almost hit the kid. It was a whole thing. It was like the whole room just stopped, and then we were all like, we collectively recognized that we were in an Arby's. Like that was it. Like we're all like, oh wait, we're here. Like oh no, this is not Chick-fil-A.
This sucks for all of us.
Yeah, this is not what I thought it was. This is not a Five Guys.
When you got this far into the story, like just a couple of minutes ago, I was like, wait a second. When you started saying the bell thing and it's in all Arby's, and I was like, then I was like, isn't the logo of Arby's a bell? So I was like, oh no, I have to know this.
Oh, is it a bell?
It is not a bell.
It's a hat. It's a hat.
It's a 10-gallon hat. It's a cowboy hat. But in my head, when you said bell, I was like, oh my gosh, their logo's a bell, isn't it?
Taco Bell is a bell. That is another place you accidentally end up. You don't intend to be it.
Hey.
Come on!
I end up there sometimes because I want a Crunchwrap Supreme, okay?
Okay, well, you know.
Sometimes.
Everybody has their own flaws in life, and someone's going to Taco Bell on purpose.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm just saying, you know? It's just a vibe. Anyway, that was a complete departure from where we were going.
That's perfect.
At all.
That's how
So
we
it's
do
great.
things around here.
Arby's, if you'd like to sponsor the podcast, I will revoke all of my thoughts about you. And
Inbox at hightechpod.us.
yeah, like a shill, I will just pretend that I like Arby's.
We'll ring that bell, baby.
Yeah, I will say their curly fries are great. Okay, it is a thing, but I can get curly fries anywhere else that isn't Arby's, pretty much. So,
Arby's, if I have your attention, I've actually never eaten there, and I don't say this is a bad thing. Okay, if you would like us to do an entire episode with my first Arby's meal, reach out to us at inbox@hightechpod.us. We'll at you on this episode. Like, seriously, I don't think I've ever once eaten Arby's, and I think that'd be a hilarious.
Do you even know what Arby's thing is? Like, if you had,
nope.
They're literally like roast beef sandwiches. I'm sorry, we're about to go off on a aside, but like that's the choice they made. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, we'll make roast beef sandwiches. Like, there's literally
sounds great.
Their base move is just a sandwich with roast beef in it. Like,
Perfect.
that's, you know, it's a weird thing to me. I don't know. It's just, anyway, there's my thoughts on Arby's. I don't know why I have passionate thoughts against Arby's. What we'll not have passionate
weird
thoughts
thought behind us.
Yeah, what we'll not have passionate thoughts about is this next topic. So, be fully transparent, folks. We had an entirely different episode planned for this episode. We were going to do our annual scary tech episode. But we thought it was more important to talk about some relevant news that Will had no idea was going on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am so up to speed.
So here's the deal. Will apparently lives in a rock. I don't know what's going on.
Under a rock. Okay.
No, in a rock. You open the door and you go in the rock. This is how bad it is. You're not even under. You know what I mean? Things don't seep in. You're in the rock.
Oh,
that's where
good.
you're at. No, I get tons of AI news because of all my involvement and stuff with AI, and I've been doing recently. It's whether searching for the podcast, for work. I'm literally talking on AI tomorrow. Like, it's a whole thing, right? And so I get a lot of AI news.
Yeah.
So this hit my news stream through social media and a couple other things just about early last week. Now, I don't know how long they've been out, but it's been hitting the news stuff here very recently. This might actually be a thing worth us looking up real quick. How long Neo 1X, if you take a look at that for me here, Will, has actually been advertising what they're advertising. Okay, so, but anyway, what pops up on mine is this picture of what I can only describe as a felt robot. You know what I mean? like that's like, it kind of reminds me of like a mannequin you put clothes on, you know, like you pin clothes to. You know what I'm talking about? Is that a thing? Yeah, like that's a thing, right? Yeah,
well, look, I mean, you just put clothes on a mannequin, but nonetheless, okay, no,
you know what I'm talking about, like a sewing one. There's like the sewing pin cushion.
I actually
ones
grew up with one of those in my house, and it was terrifying in the middle of the night. You'd walk downstairs and you'd see in the corner like, what is that?
So imagine that, Will, except it walks
with legs and arms. Yeah,
with legs and arms. So
great.
Did you find out how long they've been a thing?
So.
When did they release
1X Technologies, formerly known as Halliday Robotics, was founded in 2014 by Norwegian roboticist Berent Bornish.
Oh, that guy sounds
the
for sure
company
like
initially focused on developing safe actuators and full body control systems for industrial healthcare robotics. 2018, they released their first humanoid robot. 2022, they rebranded as 1X. 23, they get raised $23.5 million in Series A2 funding. In January 24, they secured $100 million in Series B funding. And in September 2025, just 2 months ago now, it was reported that they were seeking to raise $1 billion in new funding to support the development and deployment of this humanoid robots for home environments. So the company's been around for a minute, but this Neo line we are going to discuss tonight was first introduced on August 30th, 2024 as the Neo Beta. So they've been in robotics for over a decade, 11 years. Last year in the fall, they dropped this Neo beta idea and announced it. And now on February 1st, they released the sleeker design known as Neo Gamma. And on October 28th, Josh is not wrong, literally 1 week ago.
This is how much I'm in the AI news. I literally picked this up the day it came out.
They opened their pre-orders last
That's why
Tuesday.
I'm getting this. Okay, this is why my social media is flooding, and my news articles are flooding with this Neo robot thing. This has been like all I have been seeing for the last week is this Neo robot thing, which is why I think it's hilarious that Will had no idea what this was when we talk about it tonight. So anyway, that's a little bit of the history of the company 1X, but what is this Neo robot thing we're talking about? Okay, so generally the idea, as I understand it, and we have been, I mean, the train's been moving down this way for a while now with the release of GPT and AI, right? Is that we've all known one of the, I guess I would say, streams that AI has been aiming to go down is this idea of a personal robot. Like, now I can relate to this, okay, as a Star Wars fan who likes droids. The idea of having my own R2D2 and venturing in the world with my own R2D2 is a very appealing thing, okay? Totally an appealing thing.
And I want a C-3PO body with an R2D2 personality, personally.
Nobody,
I would like the walking, talking with an R2D2 personality, as opposed to C-3PO, I think, is like the worst robot, and R2D2 is like the worst body. Come on. Are we doing
body?
this?
Are we going to do this right now?
Are we doing this right now?
Are you kidding me? R2D2 like flies around and electrocutes things.
Folks,
how is that the worst body?
Folks, you just lost the next 5 minutes of the episode. We'll be right back.
This is unacceptable.
Joshua, C-3PO is useless. Like, he is...
Yeah,
what can he do?
He's not the worst droid. He survived all the movies.
That's the Force, you know?
Even Anakin
Jedi
didn't survive all the movies.
But R2-D2... I do not deny that what he did with that body, what it did, I don't know. I don't like humanizing them.
Fine.
What R2-D2 did with its body was fantastic. Zapping people, burning, flying, especially in the prequel trilogy, because we didn't see as much of that in the original trilogy. Like, he zapped people and he did some door opening.
Total side note right now, have you ever heard the theory that the original prequel trilogy is R2-D2 retelling the story, which is why he has all those cool features? And you don't see those in the later movies. That it's just R2-D2 like making crap up, like that he did stuff.
It's the claptrap version. It's Borderlands of the prequels.
Anyway, okay, so we can agree to disagree on this. He's not the most effective, but he,
Could you imagine that R2-D2 with this thing's body? That R2-D2 would be so much more capable, flying around, zapping things, I mean,
it's debatable, but it's fine. It's whatever.
Right.
It's fine. It's okay. So either way,
listeners, we're back.
Okay, we're back. I can relate because I like the idea of a droid. Okay, that I would like.
Fair.
Okay, but there's a lot of other things going on. Okay, so Neo basically is the idea of this robot that can be take home chore helping robot. Like, think of a butler. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. Robot butler, the dream, right?
It is the premise of iRobot until the dystopian apocalypse. Like, the iRobot thing, those robots in that movie and book are designed to be personal assistants, home tenders, home carers, right? Like, they are a part of the home. And I think that it's both wildly interesting to consider this reality and absolutely terrifying to me.
Like, just real quick, let's go beyond we're going to get to the philosophical and the functional and all of those things here in a second. But let's take a look, okay, at Neo the home robot, okay? This is the image that we're introduced to with Neo the home robot when you go to their website, 1x.tech. Okay?
It's amazing.
Like, what world are we living in? Will, you said it looked like something, and I think now is the time to describe it. Like, this is what Will's first reaction was. You were like...
scroll us down, because I did see it standing up. I did see it in its full body.
So there's it working in the background with this lovely couple just playing cards.
Perfect.
Okay? Also, can we talk for a second? Why is it just moving a globe? Okay, it was just moving the globe there.
Good,
That was all it was doing. Okay. Also, are these people also owned by Dyson? That's just a side note. It's always using a Dyson vacuum. Like,
right. That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. This thing looks like if a Google Home grew up. And it like if it sprouted arms and legs, this is a Google Home with a body. And now if you'll take me back up to the top, though, the thing that stunned me about this opener to the page, for those with any sort of movie background, this is like 80% Leslie Nielsen, who is famous for the Naked Gun and Airplane movies, the comedian of like the what were these movies, like 90s, 80s, like this guy. I see this guy and I'm like, oh, this is a joke. I'm looking at this guy like they're going, this is a gag. Did they release this on April 1st? Like, I'm looking for like the Microsoft pranks. You know what I mean? Remember those days where Microsoft would do like, here's the amazing Xbox that you can get on April 1st. That's the first thing I think of. And then I'm like, wait a second. Their first pitch is to humanize this thing, is to create the home assistant that is there for your loved ones and that is a part of the household. Like, right away, they're trying the messaging that this is going to be a part of your family.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My gosh.
This is the vibe on this thing right now. So, like, that's what we're looking at. It's like the soft, cushiony robot that they've designed, which is just like the creepiest looking thing in the universe right now for any of us who have watched any kind of robot movie. I think, like, this is again, we'll get to the serious matter here in general, but my first reaction to this is like, I have seen this in all the movies and it never ends well. So, like, this is just total side conversation on that. And again, Will and I are not the paranoid, like, we talked a lot about AI on this podcast, okay? We're not the, like, paranoid, well, I mean, Will is, but I'm not the paranoid, like, AI is going to destroy the world person, okay? That's not my vibe, okay? That's not where I come from. It's not the direction I come from. But I have specific takes on this robot. And now let's get to the functional, okay? So,
well,
go ahead. Continue before I get to functional.
Just very briefly, just because it's still set up, in my opinion, right? Josh will put these pictures on the episode page for this. I'll do a quick reenactment here live so you can see it. But as Josh is telling me this in prep, this was my face, okay? Just my eyes, like, opening as wide as possible. And it made me immediately go search for one of my favorite memes in the world. I have this saved on all devices I own because I use it for any situation like this, okay? You can Google it. You can say meme, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the meme is, and it's a picture of a guy with a gun on his hip. My wife asked me why I carry a gun in the house. I looked at her and said, Decepticons. If you're not familiar with Transformers, they're the bad guys. She laughed. I laughed. The toaster laughed. I shot the toaster. It was a good time. That is... Josh is like, Will and I are not so paranoid about this. No, that is my philosophy about human robots in the household. Like, it's terrifying.
Well, and that's why I do want us to understand the moment we're looking at right now, because, like, we've been talking a lot about AI, we've been talking about a lot of stuff, but this is the first moment that I think we have seen a viable robot being advertised and actually having pre-orders. Like, we are in order mode now, and this is not just like, because all the other stuff we've seen, Tesla bots, whatever you want to call them, you know, the dynamic robots, the
Harvard dynamic,
Harvard dynamic robots, all of those things, right? Even some of these like horse robot motorcycle things that are now becoming a thing. It's like all of these things we've seen, none of them have been either fully accessible to the average person or like really being advertised as the in-home robot, right? The in-home robot has been just kind of a discussion thing to this point. With when it's come to ChatGPT, AI, large language models, agentic AI, it's been a conversation point, but it has not been a realistic product. Like, I want to share this real quick, the sharing screen one more time. Like, if you go to Neo's page, we are at the point where you can order these robots. Like, this is not like this is literally I can choose the color of my robot. Okay, I can select. Basically, the way they're working it right now is there's an early access model where you can spend $20,000 just to own it, and then there's a subscription model. They are going to make their money off of a subscription model. That's what they're aiming for right now, which is basically you buy the robot, you get the starter productivity package, whatever that means, standard delivery and a monthly subscription, and you get to use this robot. Like this, you basically rent this robot into your house, and it's supposed to be able to do your dishes and do your things. And I will say, I have watched morning show like equivalent stuff that's been popping around the internet recently because of this Neo thing. It can do some of this stuff. Like it did put dishes. I watched it put dishes in a dishwasher and close it. Now, couple caveats. It took as long as it would take me to like clean the entire house to put 3 dishes in the dishwasher. Okay, that's, you know, it's a vibe. And then, but here's the other thing. Okay, let's get to functionality. Okay, because here's the deal. Neo is being advertised, but the AI model is not learned enough yet to be able to do all the household tasks that it's going to do. And so, if it can't do the task that you're asking it to do, you can choose to have an employee remote into the robot, see, basically watching this, like it's putting on like, you know, full VR kit, headset. Like putting on VR headset, controllers, and it can see, that person can see and hear anything that robot sees and hears. And then that person, like playing a video game, uses the robot to do the task. And the argument is, this is what trains the robot language model on doing the task. Okay? I want to...
Josh is just watching me shake my head.
Let's just lay in there for a second, because here's my deal. Okay? Well, we're not AI experts, right? We don't know, we don't build language models, so we could be wrong on this. But I can say this. Of the research I have done about language models so far, Will, what would tell us that an individual robot needs to train itself on how to do the dishes? Like, don't get me wrong. Everybody's house is slightly different, but you're telling me they couldn't train a language model, like they couldn't train an AI model on doing the dishes in different scenarios before releasing this robot? Every advertisement I've seen for the robot, the person interviewing has said 90% of what they've seen the robot do is somebody doing it through the VR headset.
Yeah.
So like this kind of, there's a part of me that kind of feels not as threatened by this, because it kind of feels like when we released those boards that had the 2 wheels on the side and we called them hoverboards. Like it was like, we were like...
Look, guys, I got a hoverboard.
We were committed to this idea, but we didn't actually do it.
A horizontal skateboard,
right? Like you're not actually hiring a robot to do your work for you. You're hiring Greg in IT to do your dishes. Like,
poor Greg. Is it Rubric Guy? Did he get a new job?
This Canvas is Rubric Guy. I don't know. I could be wrong on this. Like there could be some validity. I'm sure there's some major complexities to this, and this is an early version of the robot. So acknowledge all of that, right? That I'm sure we're seeing the first car right now. Like that's what we're seeing. You know what I mean? Like this is...
Oh, that is a great way to put this. Like one of the things that I think you've already made the point on, but is worth like, I guess comparing, right, is all of the technology to date on this has been research. It's been military, it's been academic, it's been inaccessible to the public. And you're right. Like this is, as far as I know, the first one that's hitting the residential market. You know, most, you know, middle-class folks may not be able to afford this, but frankly, like not even a CEO, like some VPs and stuff are going to be making enough money in the world to be able to afford this and be interested in it.
$500 a month is a lot, but like put this in perspective. When we're talking about if this is a robot that can actually do dishes, clean the house, do all of that stuff, there is middle class and above that will probably be able to justify that price, right? Like with enough price reducing other places, I could see people being able to work out a price range for this. That was what I was so surprised about when I first saw this. I was like, this isn't so astronomical that only Elon can afford to have it in his house with his 18 billion Teslas.
That's,
you know what I mean? Like,
that's actually like kind of my point.
The average-ish person could actually afford this, which means in at least 5 years, middle class could afford this if this actually is effective.
Right. I agree with you. Now, I think I am trying to be good and hold on to like some philosophical but because we are trying to,
Yeah.
you've been saying, let's stay on the functional. What is interesting to me is even watching some of the footage they have on here, they're suggesting that it's already capable of unplugging things, putting things away, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, vacuuming, picking things up, taking trash from you, right? Taking the trash out, bringing the groceries in. Like these are perfect mundane chores in the house that you'd love to not have to do yourself. And truly, like you were just saying, why do they need these experts? What's it going to take to program these things? Create the models for the LLM. I do believe if they put 100 of these things in homes and spend a year with Greg's and John's and Rubric guys running them in the background, they'll be so much better at all those tasks, right? Like I just know the kind of the curve with learning patterns and learning what to do in unlike or dissimilar contexts, right? My house is not Josh's house, is not Elon Musk's house, right? Like we all know everybody's house is going to be different, where the dishes go, how we like the dishes put. So all that's got to be learned. And frankly, I could see it where you get this robot in your house and you just teach it, you take it along and do those things the first time with them, and then it picks up those patterns. But I think it's going to be a year before, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I think 1 year is enough where it's going to be almost perfect at dishes and almost perfect at vacuuming.
Yes.
So there'll be a point where we're going to hit those base chores, and then people are going to get it. What did you say? It's currently it's standard productivity package or whatever. Like once they train it enough on standard, they're going to offer an Excel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's going to be like washing the car and doing the lawn, right?
This could do
like,
your
that's
remote
where they're
job
going to go.
for you. Will be the productivity package 8 times higher. Like that's no. I agree. I mean, like let's take exponential tech growth curves, right? I mean, what's the principle? I can't think of the name right now.
Moore's law.
Moore's law, right? Okay, so Moore's law generally what is it's like double the time or something like that.
Each year, every other year.
Doubles
every 2 years.
Doubles every two years. Okay, so it's a 2-2 principle. Doubles every 2 years, right? Moore's law has basically been absolutely destroyed by GPT. I mean, that's basically the problem. That's a lot of discussion in tech right now. You think about GPT released new was what it was, right? 2022. Okay. Mm-hmm. AI existed before that. Okay. I'm not arguing it didn't, but you have to be an idiot to not argue that LLMs releasing in 2022 absolutely changed the game of AI. Okay. GPT's release changed things. We are only 3 years from that time frame. Like you realize that, right? We're only 3 years from when GPT released. Think about 3 years ago, how much you were talking about AI, and 3 years now, right? So like we barely had enough time to hit 2 full cycles from Moore's law, and we're already at robot. Like that's where we're at. Okay. Like to Will's point, this is the thing that's interesting / kind of scary / kind of exciting / kind of where we're at is right. People can laugh at this Neo robot like I was just doing by the trainers, but Will is right. Let's say we get these robots out into 300 homes, right? We find the 300 people who are willing to spend $500 a month to get a pin cushion to do their dishes. Okay. So they get that out there. Okay. Right. Neo is training that entire time on that. There's a very realistic world where, and this is why I think this is such a big moment. There's a realistic world where 2 years from now, Neo can do all the tasks Will's talking about, and you don't have to have anybody VR into it. Yeah. So I think we are on an interesting precipice. I'm not willing to fully commit to this yet, but I do think we're on a precipice. For the first time, I'm convinced that we could see a world where at-home robots and robotic and AI moves from just chatbots, from just agentic AI on the internet, from just building tables, from just making penguin games for Will and I, to like functional things in the home. Okay? Yeah. And if history teaches us anything, that moment is when that technology takes off. Okay, right? Because the internet technology, it existed before it took off in the home, before the personal computer existed and took off in the home. But Apple, the personal computer, the existence of that computer, rapidly changed technology. So like for people listening, I want to understand here for a second. This is why, in my opinion, it's pivotal to see what happens with this type of robot, or if any other companies come into the play, is because history speaks to when a technology gets to the average human user inside the home, that technology exponentially increases in usage.
Yep.
Right? That is a big game. GPT is a perfect example of this. It existed well before 2022. Releases in 2022, and I don't know of a person who doesn't know what GPT is and doesn't use it. Right? Yeah, all it took was 3 years, right?
It's almost miraculous how quick.
Yeah. Electricity starts to get out to the home. Immediately you see electricity become a much bigger thing and absolutely transform the world as we know it. Right? That's the case. I mean, you could see it in a lot of different places. Home internet, home computer is another place that you pick that point. So like the fact that we're having a functional AI robot on the precipice of being in the home is I think a big deal. And I think people are kind of making fun of this Neo robot, not really understanding. They're like, guys, we're on a pivot moment. Like this could very well be the moment that people point to of where robotics started making its way into the household.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Like that's an interesting concept.
And what I do believe about this functionally, again, still staying on like what it means to have this tool, what it's capable of doing, what it'll look like in the market, right? If this is the first one and people buy it, there will be people who had the Neo, right? Like in 20 years, there's going to be 100 of these competing companies and designs and purposes and whatever. But there'll be people who remember like, you know, your first Blu-ray, your first DVD, your first VHS, your first Betamax, your first floppy disk, your first, all that kind of stuff. Like there's folks who know what technology's been like over time. This is the first one that's going to end up in the home. And this is what's going to make the difference. In 20 years, people will know that it started with this thing. It started with the Mac in Steve Jobs' garage or whatever. It started with the books in Bezos's garage. It's all these things started with that something. This is it. Functionally, they're going to get better with their product. It would take something dramatic. It would take the United States of America making these illegal for this company not to. Well,
in theory, yeah. Like it could also.
I'm just saying dramatic, something drastic.
Yes, no,
right?
absolutely. I will say all of my speech about this. I'm thinking and realizing we have to be careful, right? Because electric cars, this was the talk a decade ago about electric cars. And now we're finally getting there, but it took so much longer for them to get there. I think the thing that surprises me is the price point on Neo. Because I think that was the hard thing with electric cars, right? Is that the technology was not at a place where you could travel with electric cars as far. And so it just was not realistic. I think I'm just talking out loud because that thought occurred to me. I was like, electric cars would be an example where people were saying, well, 5-6 years ago, everything's gonna be electric cars, and here we are, and we're still now we're closer for sure. But it took Musk becoming political and a whole lot of things for Tesla to get where it got to.
Right.
So like it just in theory this could go a different way. I'm not for sure predicting it's gonna go this direction. I will say I think this is easier to sell if they're at this price point, and it doesn't have quite as many hurdles that like electric cars did, right? So I think it's a different element. You weren't making the electric car argument, but like it's just the dynamic. I think is something to consider.
And I think you're right. Like even before the electric car, we all remember the Prius, like as that first broad hybrid, and then the Tesla really won the first substantially functional EV, electrical vehicle. So to me, that's what this is. Now, I think it's amazing. I think if what it's capable of doing, both autonomously, right? If you just turn it on and let it run, I think that it isn't. But even if they have that VR person inside, that's wild technology, right? I can't get my AAA video game to play on this computer in front of me, streaming to my computer, my Steam Deck downstairs on the first floor without lag and significant disruption unless I change things. I have to hardline stuff. Like I do it sometimes. I run stuff around so I can make it better on my TV downstairs. But like, you're telling me some dude in Arkansas is going to remote into this robot in my house in Maine and run this thing, amazing.
It won't be in Arkansas. I mean, if history communicates, it'll be somewhere else, but it will not be in Arkansas.
the point
I
is,
see what
right?
you're
Like
saying.
this
Yeah.
technology is amazing. If it can do the things it can do on its own, wow. I mean, technologically fascinating. And if it can't do it on its own, still, wow, somebody is going to remote in and control this thing from hundreds, thousands, whatever miles away. It is functionally outstanding.
So, real quick aside as I'm clicking through the website, and then let's get to the philosophical, because we've talked about the functional. That's where it's at. It's not entirely functional, but I don't think that's... I think we will see it increasingly get better. I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, I'll just put this aside. The way GPT did it as well is they are using the user as a way to train their model. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
You are the product. I'm sorry. That's the reality of what they're trying to do. Your experience is the product. So that'll take us to a philosophical conversation. But before we get there, just a fun aside. They had it, apparently will, cook a steak with a Master Chef winner. Nick, I don't know if you know who Nick DiGiovanni is.
Not by name,
he was a big social media presence after he won Master Chef. I have a weird obsession with Gordon Ramsay, so I've seen Master Chef. Okay.
Yeah.
He got him to cook a steak with it. It successfully cooked a steak with him. So,
dang.
Fun fact. It has a little chef's jacket on that says Chef Neo, in case you were curious.
I don't like it. Let's not humanize it. Anyways,
it's so that's a vibe. So let's talk philosophical, okay?
Can I do a rundown of what I believe are some of the things they're posturing? Like before we give some of our opinions, I think that there's a lot to capture in what they're posturing, okay? From what we already showed, right? The first thing you land on is an older man holding it, an arm around it, looking down on it, fondly smiling.
I'm gonna share the website as Will describes this. Take me through, Will, where you think this posturing is. I'm not disagreeing with your posturing, by the way.
So we've got landing page. This is something I believe they're trying to communicate: family, sense of belonging, and I've worked in like academics around elder tech, like how to support elderly folks. And one of the biggest things they talk about with smart home technology for elderly folks is loneliness and companionship, right? So boom, we are hitting a huge message right there. Let's go down to the next stage. Transform your home, right? This is this next big message of theirs. It's going to take on the boring and mundane, right? Immediately they're trying to tell you can have a more exciting life, you can have less chores, you can have, you know what I mean? It's freeing you up.
You don't have to spin your own globes. Neo will do it for you.
You don't have to spin them. You can have it do your Dyson, vacuum for you.
Yeah, Neo will bring
right
you
below
flowers. That's apparently a thing it'll do,
Bingo. Right below that's just like a couple of quick points: helping hand, reclaim time, helpful intelligence. Not going to go too far with that. Automate your chores, keep going down, expert mode. But I want to get us down to design, soft and safe, because I think those areas that we just talked about there are all, we see, okay, we've talked about that. But soft and safe, this design thing, it's right below expert mode. It's designed for gentle and safe interactions. Immediately, they are trying to address the fact that there are people like moi who would carry a gun in their house if this was in it. It's like we are fed science fiction on a monthly, if not weekly basis, right? With TVs, books, movies, right? It's so a part of our science fiction that we assume robots will take over. We assume robots will become violent. And so they are posturing immediately, right away. This thing is soft. It could not hit you hard. It does not have... It's just not a hard or cutting or risky thing. And it's safe. It's comfortable. You could leave it with your child. They probably say, don't do that, right? But the point is they are trying to posture right away. And right there, great, you showed that. Light, quiet, soft, gentle. They're giving all of this language. I mean, they have run this whole website through an LLM to make sure that all of these words are trying to take away some of your concerns and fears. It
hangs out in leaves. It relaxes and ponders, if you will.
And this little carousel is, I think, one more way that they're trying to humanize it and or create something that's we recognize, right? So emotive ear ring, the tendon driven stuff. It's gentle. It's got a cozy design, knit suit, back to back with a human. right? Like this whole, each of these little pieces in this carousel are intended to make you comfortable with this idea.
It also
feel
is
safe
ironically
with this idea.
shorter than every human being that it's with in the pictures. I just would like to note I don't know if that's an intentional design choice to make the robot fairly short, but it is always shorter than everyone.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
Laugh and
to
learn.
make it diminutive.
Ask Neo questions, get instant knowledge, personalized intelligence, or even a joke.
Yep. And the final one on their page, this bit, if it cycles through, I don't know, it's choppy while we're recording. I think it'll be okay when it's not. But folks, just go to 1x.tech/Neo.
Yeah, we'll put
the link will be in the stuff. You'll see this for yourself. On screen, the old guy is showing this. I don't have my glasses. Is this paprika? No, that's cayenne pepper. Also, your glasses are on your shirt. It's being cheeky. It's being relatable. It's engaging with the man directly. They're trying to, again, humanize it, make it seem safe. All of this, though, is just to help you wrap your mind around purchasing it. And then the last bit right below that is that it grows with you, right? This is their final message on the homepage of the website. You're going to buy this thing. It will cost the amount of a cheap car. And if you buy it for 20 grand, right? But if you subscribe to it for $6,000 a year, it's $6,000 a year indefinitely. They want you to keep this. They want it to learn you. They want it to become a part of your household. They're suggesting that this is a family member. So that's just us running down the first page and how much philosophy, in my opinion, is baked into their marketing approach, because they sincerely do have to address these uphill issues of safety, security, comfort, if they're going to get anybody to buy it. Because there's tons 100%. Of tinfoilers like me, but there's plenty of folks who are just maybe concerned. Like I already made the joke, like, oh, you could leave it with your baby, but they're probably going to say, don't do that, right? It would not be good necessarily, especially untested. It may not even be good with pets, like we've got to be careful about that.
They are partnering with NVIDIA, in case you're curious, in some of the stories. I did notice that. So, and I do notice a design choice. The old models had this like black empty face, and the newer ones are the ones with the eyes on them. So there was a very clear design choice to switch from this original version to the newer.
And this is still pre-order, so who knows? Who knows the end product? But I think they're already being very intentional to build it towards a human, or an anthropomorphic would be the word we could use, an anthropomorphic robot.
So I mean, the promise is this, right? That it'll be. I think we could probably sum this up in a couple different ways. It'll make your life easier. It'll do the things you don't want to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. It'll grow with you and be a part of your family, right? And dynamic. And I do think I think Will is right. There's kind of this like gentle family-esque nature to what they're advertising, right? It's this helper that will make your life better, can help your grandparents, do things they can't do. It'll help those who can't help themselves. This is the pitch that you're getting from Neo. Yeah. Okay. And so like, this is the idea. Okay. A couple philosophical points. Let's deal with the immediate one that would pull people in. Okay. Which is, it will do things for you that you don't want to do. The mundane tasks, the cleaning, the dusting, the globe turning, the dishes. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm focused on this globe turning, right? Apparently it's a rich person problem.
It's a lot.
It's a thing. Okay? Like,
it's not my problem, but it is someone's problem. I don't own a globe,
but apparently when you're rich enough that you can see the whole world in your house, it's too much to turn it, But like dishes, laundry, all of that stuff. Okay, this is the idea, right? So in theory, based on what Will and I are talking about, if you put it in the house, it can probably do that stuff eventually. And this is why I do think it's an interesting prospect that will take off, because we like anything that makes our lives easier. Right? Like this is people don't want to do this stuff. Like people have a hard time keeping the house clean. I can tell you add one kid to the mix and it immediately changes that entire perspective. Right? So like I think this could go places because of that. But here's my take. Okay. That philosophical approach. Will it make life easier? Because it's essentially what it's advertising. It'll take the things that you don't want to do. Okay. So that's the advertising, and it'll make your life easier. First philosophical statement, right? It'll take the things you don't want to do. I think that's probably very realistic. I think there is a world that these robots would be able to do this. I think that pitch is real. I think that's a reality. The pitch, it'll make your life easier. This is where I've been wrestling with this recently on AI, right? Because it all started, I was reading Will, I've talked to you about him before, John Dyer, who kind of takes like a theological, philosophical approach to technology. And I lean on him a lot for a lot of things. I think he's a great scholar when it comes to these types of areas, but he talks about this idea that if you look at history in the introduction of technology at any point, the promise was always it will take things you don't want to do and it'll give you more time for the things that matter. But the reality is that our problem in human society is not technology, it's our ability to consume. And so when we make more time for the things that matter, we end up just consuming more. We end up doing more, right? So like a perfect example of this historically, Will and I were talking about this even a couple episodes ago, is if you look at the introduction of and this is, I think, the most close equivalent to what Neo is trying to offer, okay? You look at the introduction of the fridge, the washing machine, and the dishwasher, okay? These are three technologies that we all take for granted, but there was a period in time when things went bad because you only had an ice box, you didn't have a fridge. Right? There was a period of time when you had to hand wash all your dishes, and there was a period of time where you had to hand wash clothes, and it literally took days. I mean, like it was a task, right?
Right.
When
all those chores were a primary focus
Yes.
of household maintenance.
Yes.
Right.
When all of those things released at different times, the advertisement back then was, and if you don't believe me, just go play like a Fallout game or something from like the 60s, because all their advertisements very much kind of like replicate this component, which is the advertisement was kind of like it'll give you time to do the things you can't do because you're busy doing these things. I want to ask you a question, listeners. Who has more time to do things? Like, who's just sitting around doing nothing at home? Okay, now granted, there isn't an entire lie in this, right? Because I do think that's what you see frees up time for, like, you know, our ancestors wouldn't have had as many times to probably dig into video games or watch movies or media, right? Like, that's not totally unrealistic. It did free up time. The history speaks to that we basically filled it up with more things. The work hours changed, right, in our lives, right? The dynamics change, right? So, like, give this a good example, right? These technologies all release, okay? And I want to make very clear, I'm not arguing in this moment that, like, women going to work is a bad thing. That is a good thing, okay? But all of a sudden, now two people in the home are making money. And the argument was, well, now you'll have more money to do things with. That's not what happened. Prices just went up. Right? It got extraordinary, right? And to the point that, like, the idea of one single home having a single person making money is just ridiculous now. Like, you can't do that, right? And so the reality is technology, in this case, listen, I like tech. I enjoy tech. But in these cases, it didn't necessarily make life easier. It made life more complicated. It allowed us to do other things, but we ended up as human beings just filling that time with other things.
Yeah.
Right? And productivity, the expectation to produce got bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that's really interesting to me about this is if you asked me, Will, would you like to spend less time on mundane tasks and more time on something else, your hobby, your job, your friends, whatever? The answer is yes. Yeah, that sounds great. That's a very easy question. If that first question is, Will, would you like to sacrifice potentially your personal property, money, time troubleshooting, time training, all these things that go into buying one of these robots so that you get more time with your other friends or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. It's not that easy anymore. If it's just like, hey, it's a trade, you just get more time for the things you like. Sure, I'm in. But that's not what it is. Like, we don't have that as much with a washer and dryer, right? But a washer and dryer do have risks and variability. A washer and dryer can break. The water, in a washer can spill out and flood a bathroom or something. A dryer can occlude with, dryer vent issues and cause a fire. Like, when somebody asked, hey, would you like to never wash clothing again? Somebody went, sure. But if they were asked, hey, would you like to have potentially a flood or fire in your house? Now you have to, you think like, oh, maybe not, or I need to learn what it takes to not do that, right? That's this philosophical question mark on these robots. We don't know the problem, right? The things we do know is it might not get the task right away. We might have to train it a lot. And we might have to use those third-party experts who come in and VR into the house and do the task for us, right? We know those potential 3 issues. We don't know what happens if it runs out of battery. We don't know what happens if it breaks down. We don't know what happens if it does do something dystopian and attacks us or does weird stuff, right? We don't, those are the we don't knows. And that's where it's no longer like a washer machine or a dishwasher, right? A washer machine, dishwasher, we knew the risks. Flooding, not cleaning your dishes, having to buy a new one every so often. Like those are acceptable risks. An AI-driven robot has unknown risks. And that's where I think philosophically, we don't even have to get to is it good or bad just yet, which I think is a fun part of this conversation. But like, what could it do? We all just imagine Terminator. Is that possible? How are they preventing Terminator? So if that's not possible, like I'm just playing out the philosophy and the options of this. Now I just still want to know, like, what happens if it falls down the stairs? What happens if it trips me by accident? What happens? There's so much we don't know about this risk and liability of this thing in the household that, frankly, I don't think we can safely say it's a good or it's a safe thing. Or is it a bad or an unsafe thing? I don't think we have the information to make that choice just yet.
Yeah, but I think you can make that argument about like any new technology. I think that's why like I'm less
plus or minus AI,
yes,
right? Like
I get it. We're talking about a slightly different thing.
Is different than
but imagine when
robot.
the car or the train first released, right? Like
sure,
nobody knew what those were going to do, the accidents, the roads, all of that. Like at
the same time though, a car as a quick example, right? It did not have like the cars we know today. It did not have the capacity then, right? They weren't fast, they couldn't do much, or steam driven, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now today's cars are actually safer. Because they had to go through.
It was like a complete speed change.
But I'll make that bridge, and I think that's a good connection, right? That first car wasn't capable of the things our cars are capable of today, potentially hurting people, accidents, all the, But now, because of all the problems that have happened over the years with cars are safer than they've ever been. We had to have accidents, we had to have problems for them to make cars safer. And honestly, that's what this moment is with this robot. It will either be safe the whole way through, and that will eliminate a moral issue. Because I think if it's unsafe, it is not morally safe either. I don't think it's morally sound if it's not safe, or we can't.
But whether it's safe or not, I don't think completely removes the moral conversation. Like that's not.
No, certainly not. I just think I think if it's unsafe, I would say immediately it's morally questionable or it's morally bad.
Yeah,
that's an easy
like if it
thing,
turns into the Megan doll from the horror movies, like then yes, okay, immediately unsafe.
Right, right. But because we don't know that, we can play with what is it. I think it's a very gray thing right now. To me, it's so gray.
Yes, very.
I think it could be good.
It is very gray, just like by the design.
Like color.
Sorry, I just felt like I needed to say that. You set me up.
You got me.
No. I totally get it. But I think my point here is my bigger concern is not that stuff. It's not the physically what it's going to do. It's not whether it's going to become Terminator and kill us all, because I'm not as concerned about that problem. I think that's mainly our science fiction playing out in our predictions of how things are going to go.
Right.
I think the larger concern I have is looking at the spectrum and historically how technology has influenced us and go, what I'm more concerned about is not Terminator. What I'm more concerned about is Cyberpunk 2077. Okay. Right. So I'm not concerned about Terminator, but I'm consumed about a world that becomes so the mundane is no longer a problem, that the expectation is for productivity to become so much so that we're expected to do more, and more. I mean, that's the principle of any kind of cyberpunky type of space. Technology got to such a point that to afford anything and do anything, you have a new industrialized slave movement. I mean, that's basically the scenario of cyberpunky world. So I'm less concerned about John Connor getting killed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm more concerned about people being expected to do more, more, and more because we have freed up time for people to do more and more and more. Right? Listen, I like technology. I like what it does, but the productivity stuff that changes the home and the thing that we've done in general has never quite resulted in more family time. It's resulted in us being expected to do more. Like we can joke about like our generations before us can joke about like these kids just don't know how to work anymore. But the reality is, great-grandfather, you got to go home at 5:00 and nobody called you on a cell phone or a Teams message or a thing expecting that you'd be able to respond. And that is not 2025. And as much as I love technology has enabled us to become obsessed with constantly doing. And my fear about these types of technologies is I'm more and more coming over to the side that as much as I'm interested by them and what they use, are they just enabling us to be sucked out more for doing? Like, is that the problem?
It's in that language, it's vampiric tech. And unfortunately, I'll say these buzzwords that I hate saying, it's folks with a lot of money who get to do the sucking, who get to vampire out, right? Like the consumer is not necessarily the one that's going to win as a result of these tools. So
yeah, I don't know. That's my concern. I could be wrong. Yeah. I just that's what I've been wrestling with recently. And listen, I'm all about efficiency, about using technology to do that. We talk about it a lot on the podcast. I very much like it. But it's an argument recently that I had to step back and go for a second. You know what? If you do look at history, which in my argument repeats itself many a times, people are too often comparing this to things that I don't think are actually equivalent comparisons, and really should be comparing AI more to the way certain tech transformed the home in the like kind of 50s, 60s time frame. And the way that kind of changed. And it's tough for us to remember all that because that is technology that goes far enough back that even like our grandparents don't fully remember the difference.
And we take it for granted. Like it's just a part of the home, right? Like it's wild.
So I don't know. That's where I'm at.
We didn't even try. This was not hard, and we've just recorded an hour episode. Like this is one of the reasons why we thought this was the right thing to talk about at this moment. It's definitely fresh, but it's something we very deeply care about. And here we are in episode 222, spiraling towards 60 minutes on this episode is a good thing. Like Josh and I could go on probably for 2 or 3 more episodes discussing this thing.
Neo will pop back up. I can't promise you Will be watching it that closely because, he only sees food memes on Instagram. Ostrich. But I will be watching Neo closely. I will be very curious how the next year plays out with this technology. Because I do not think this is as much of a joke as some people are treating it. I think this is a big deal that we're seeing this happen. I'll be happily proven wrong if Neo becomes another one of those little hoverboards with wheels, which, by the way, again, tech, it's not a hoverboard. It doesn't hover. It's just apparently
it's a horizontal
we can get a hoverboard when we change the term hover to mean wheels. Like that's just saying. Okay, it's a different episode. But I do think it matters, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So that's it for now. That's enough time Neo got from us. I don't
tune
think Neo
in,
needs
folks.
Too much more.
Tune in for future Neo episodes. It'll be there, and hopefully it'll be the one. It'll be Kung Fu.
Is it also ironic that it's named after the character from Matrix? Just saying.
Not at all. Folks, as always, head over to the socials, head over to all the things, find us at High Tech Pod, at High Tech Podcast, subscribe, like, follow, tweet, comment, whatever, share us, hit the bell. That's very helpful for content creators, for podcasters to find more folks. And we're all about providing these conversations so you can continue to think through these things with us. If you're interested in being on the podcast, if you're from 1X and you want to talk to us about this thing and, I don't know, give us one, slide in inbox at hightechpod.us.
If you want to send us a Neo, we'll be happy to have Neo join us on the podcast.
I'll let it sit right there.
Yeah.
That'll be great. And if you want to see any links, the pictures, whatever memes from this episode, head over to hightechpod.us. Every single one of our episodes has an episode page where we have resources, information on there, as well as our affiliates. We have those listed on the homepage. So you can check out folks that we love, who you can support, and who support us. All right, that's a wrap on another week of the High Tech Podcast, empowering minds,
embracing tech.
Cheers.
Cheers.